How do you feel about the connotation of Black Lives Matter?
That's interesting, because at first I had that same thought that a lot of people do. Well, man, everybody matters. All lives matter. I know that, I know y'all too. You believe that. You're not over here, oh, we're only about black folks. You're not. That's not you. I know that. It does make me wonder. Not get upset or mad or anything, but it, like, and maybe it's because my heart and my little bit of knowledge that I have of some other stuff. Like, I have a heart for many different people. As a pastor, I like, there's so many other issues in the world that have my attention as well, that I wonder if would I get so pulled on that I forget. Nah, that's a wrong analogy. I probably shouldn't say it that way. It definitely is important to bring the focus. This is the voice that's being spoken right now. Yeah. So it is important, but I also have to keep the perspective that there are many other lives at stake right now as well. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. When I first heard it in 2013, it made me cringe. Believe it or not.
Me too.
It made me cringe, and I'm black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, whoa. Until I researched, and they're not saying only Black Lives Matter, and then I wish they would change it, but they're not going to. Yeah, because I mean, yeah.
Why don't you change?
Yeah, but they would change. But yeah, because my point is, so if I cringe, Jamal, could you imagine how a white person feels hearing it? I mean, so and that's why I asked that question to you. Like, I mean, I don't cringe now because I know what it means, and it's a simple equation. You got a jar of marbles, different colors in this jar, and then you say, and you got outside the jar you got black marbles, and you say all marbles are accounted for and matter. Well, they can't matter until these get into this jar, till the black ones get in the jar. So when people say all lives can't matter unless black lives can't, all lives can't matter until black lives matter also. It's wordy. It's not catchy, so they just say Black Lives Matter, and I can see it could be cringe at its cringe worthy. I get it, but unless you research it and understand the meaning of those words.
I get that.
Yeah, because like you said, whenever you hear Black Lives Matter, people automatically assume, okay, well, so you're saying your life matters more than mine, and that's not the case at all. It's basically saying my life is as equal as yours.
Yeah.
And going back to the whole media thing, whenever it gets to the media, it's pulled completely, two different ways. Yeah. And that's where the division starts. That's where people, you start pandering to whichever audience you want to pander to. And it gets taken out of context. Wow. Yeah.
I think that there's a part of a lot of people, and I don't, I'm not trying to speak for all white people, obviously. I think there's a part that would play into that would say, well, if I go that route and say Black Lives Matter, that nothing else is going to matter. Like I think that's what some people think. I don't know for sure.
Like it's too far left or it's too far right.
I think because they've seen, what is this guy made it the other day. He was the one talking about white Jesus. He's a white guy, but he's tried to look like and there's a white lady that did that too, Rachel Dawes and Sean King. Yeah. Sean King, that's his name.
Yes.
Have you seen that? No. They're both white, but they have really almost kind of, I don't know the right word here, like change their persona to be black.
Yes, they've taken on a persona.
They've done their hair different. I don't know if they did, opposite Michael Jackson, like you were joking a while ago, but did something to make them darker. But I think that when you see people like that are taking on that, Black Lives Matter, I think that other people see that and think, is that what they're wanting me to do? They're wanting me to change, everything who I am. And because those two people, man, they got lifted up in the spotlight big time, man. And I don't know for sure. I've never heard anyone say, those are some of my thoughts that I think some people that are maybe afraid of that slogan, Black Lives Matter, or maybe don't understand it or are uncomfortable with it. I think that there's maybe a connotation that this is all that has to matter.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I don't like that.
I will say this, that I haven't done all my research, and I want to do my research, but I've read a couple of things about the philosophy of the actual organization of Black Lives Matter. Their philosophy, and also their money that you give. If you give a donation to Black Lives Matter, when you get the receipt, I don't have the facts, so I'll just use a blanket number, but I believe it said that only 12% of what you give actually goes to the organization of Black Lives Matter. There is a pretty and like I said, I haven't done all my research, but what the preliminary stuff that I was reading and saw, there's a pretty big liberal organization that is divided into two entities, and they're the ones that are in control of Black Lives Matter. They have views. The actual Black Lives Matter organization. If I read this correctly, they don't believe in the family household. They're more of a it takes a village. Let's let the village raise the child rather than a family. Which they're actually, if I read it correctly, and I saw one video that explained something. What they were talking about was how pulling away from having the father in the home per se, and that family structure, which I think is detrimental, and I think is a huge problem as to why we are where we are today. But so I have, with just preliminary reading, not full on research, I have some issues with the organization just from a quick glance, because I think. Man, the family's got to be important. You can't. I think if you're standing on something, and you want to not have family structure, I think you're setting yourself up for something that's pretty detrimental.
Oh yeah,
that's my thought. But I want to do the research and see. But anyway,
I didn't hear about it.
Yeah. You asked about that, so that was my thoughts.
I've heard that, here and there. And I've actually done a little research on it, not much. I did see that only a certain percentage goes towards the Black Lives Matter movement. But my thing is with that, if you want to, show your support and you don't feel comfortable giving money, you don't have to give money.
Yeah, totally.
And you can still show your support for the movement, whether it be, signs of solidarity, showing that you hear. And that's the biggest thing. People need to understand that it's not so much as wanting people to bow down to black people and say, I need you to say sorry to me. It's more of, hey, we want to be included. We want to be equal, and we're tired. And it's been so long since the last, civil uprising, that honestly, what's happening today was bound to happen sooner or later. Yeah. There's been a lot of things left unsaid, left undone, things that left overlooked, and just like an infection, you leave it on any part of your body, it's going to start festering, it's going to start building up to a point to where you're going to start cutting off limbs. Yeah. So, if you want to support the movement, support the movement. You don't have to, if you don't want to give money to it, figure out ways to support it without having ties to the actual movement itself. Because honestly, you know, I haven't really done much research on, you know, where the profits go, but if it says that on the internet, I'm pretty sure it's being done. If it's being ran by people other than, you know, people who actually want change.
Yeah. My concern is that organization that's getting all that money, what is their real agenda? That's my, honestly,
Right.
that's my concern. I think, man, you know, never mind. If I go there, it's all politics. I don't want to.
But that's the thing. Like we don't want agendas. We want change.
Yeah.
Like I don't want I don't want Democratic politicians dressing up like, you know, Black Panther characters. Like I want people to actually like I want them to
I know
like
yeah.
I want them to pass law, like I want them to do real systemic change.
Yes.
That's going to help not only the Black community but help everyone heal over the wounds that were never taken care of.